We're in the yard of Herschell Mills, one of the older residents of Jacksboro, a lifelong resident. And Mr. Mills has been around a long time. And so we're going to do some inquiries first about him and then the area here. Herschell, where was you born?
I was born in 10th district of Cannon County at Hollow Springs.
Hollow Springs. And how long ago was that?
Well, I'm 82, and we left Jacksboro when Hollow Springs when I was 10 years old.
10 years old.
Been around this community ever since.
Okay. Who were your parents?
Jim Mills and Julie.
Jim and Julie Mills. Now, are they buried here in Warren County?
Buried up there
at Jacksboro, the Jacksboro Cemetery. Okay. Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have one brother, Everett, living.
Everett?
Everett.
He lives over on the Nashville Highway.
Yeah.
He's one that retired from Greyhound, I believe it was. Has your lifelong occupation been a farmer, or have you worked at public work?
Farmer all my life.
A farmer all your life. Okay. Where'd you go to school at?
At Jacksboro.
At Jacksboro. Now, if I understand right, the old schoolhouse set over where the church is sitting now.
And to the right of it.
Just to the right of it a little bit. Okay. And do you remember any teachers?
Yeah.
Who were some of the teachers that you had?
Florence Smithson. Taught school up there, I believe, 4 years. I went to school to her. Up there.
Okay. Was that the only teacher that you had? Were there others?
Well, I can't think of the ones that taught school there when I
Did she ever have to take you out behind the house and do any switching?
No, I was always a pretty good boy.
Or were you a pretty good sort of fellow?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever have any experiences in school you'd like to relate? Did you ever have to be in a play or anything stick out in your mind connected with school?
I didn't understand.
Okay, is there any experiences in school that sticks out in your mind? Did anything unusual happen while you was going to school?
No, I don't reckon.
Just had a mild tour of school, did he?
Yeah.
Who were some of the people you went to school with?
Well, I went to school with a bunch of them. Ark boys, you ever know the Arks?
I've heard the name.
Arks. Grace Hollis, Howard, Sterling all went to school up here. Reb Wilson, Freeze kids, Oni, Ashley, and all of them. After they done away with the Caney Branch School, they all come over here.
What time? When was the last time they used this schoolhouse up here? You remember?
No, I don't. James.
Long time ago.
Been a long time.
Okay, let's get
that schoolhouse. Now that I went to school in, they tore it down. It's a big 2-story building. Started for 4 teachers, but they had 3 teachers when I went to school there. Up till the last year or 2, it fell down to 2, and then they tore it down, built another little schoolhouse, just one teacher school. School that got down to just one teacher.
Okay. Okay. What was your wife's maiden name?
Fowler Margaret Elizabeth Cates.
She was a Cates, C-A-T-E-S. She was a Cates. All right. And where did you meet her at?
Right across the road over there.
Well, now, that's an open field now. Was there something else over there at that time?
Oh, yeah. Her daddy run a store, had a big store down there, and his house set in to the right of that trailer. He owned 20 acres of ground there behind it.
Okay. Did you do most of your courting right here in Jacksboro then?
Yeah.
Done a little sparking. Okay. Where was you married at?
Right down here at Billy Caffey's.
Was there a preacher live there or
Squire.
a
Squire
squire?
Cunningham.
Squire Cunningham. Okay. And how many children did you and the wife have?
One.
Just one child. Okay. All right. Now let's kind of move into the area. You say you've lived here in this area. You were about 10.
About 10-year-old, I think, when we moved down
So
here the last time. We moved down here before I was 10. I just can't remember that. Lived up there where Nellie Barnes was living. Then we moved back to Holler Springs.
Okay.
I was about 10.
So you lived here around 70 plus years,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
In this immediate.
10-year-old
area.
when we moved back the last time.
Okay.
Moved right
What
here on
was-
this place.
Now, kind of go back into time when you was 10 years old, but what did this area look like? What was here? Now, you said over here there was a store and a house.
Well, how much of you want me to tell about the area? You want me to tell anything about the Lane family?
Well, yeah, we'll get to them a little later, but right now, just the lay of the land. What was where the old store was at down? Was there anything there?
An old store.
Was it the same old store that burnt? I mean, was it?
Well, it did, yeah, yes.
It's been added to, of course,
When
since
we
then,
come
but-
here, Gene, the little store is about 30, not over 30 feet long. Little bitty fella, covered both ways.
Uh-huh.
And they had the post office upstairs.
Do you remember who run the store there?
Yes, Brewer.
Brewer.
Yes, Brewer, Miss Corey Elam's daddy.
Okay.
And he decided he wanted the store bigger and longer, and he built him a post office out there in the back.
Okay.
Bill Faulkner carried the mail. He built the post office.
Okay, and over here was another store.
And right across, right where my mailbox is, that's where Fowler's daddy's store was.
Now, was both of these stores operating at the same time?
Same time,
Same
yep.
time.
From the same time.
Okay. Now, I understand also right down kind of west of the store, there's a blacksmith
Yeah.
at one time.
Well,
Who was that run by? Do you remember?
The blacksmith shop was up there where Walter lives.
Where Walter Clark lives.
Grandpa Espy built the blacksmith shop there.
Okay.
And then right over here behind Richard Caffey's house, there was a big shop down there. A big blacksmith shop.
Okay. And I understand also at one time there was a barber shop.
Barber shop set right down there, right where that little old barn that John C. built, right across the ditch. Go into the front door, and he had a door into the back. And swept his floor, he swept it right out in that gully. You know, right across right of that gully. That's right. Old man Bob Mitchell run it. And he cut hair for 10 cents a head.
10 cents a head. It's gone up a little bit since then, ain't it?
But I
Now.
guess, yeah.
Probably $5 and $10 at most places.
You wanted to shave and a haircut, he charged a quarter.
A quarter.
Well, you own that place there where Claude lives, Claude Camel, and that big old boy, they made a little crop every year. He cut hair. Well, he get him a job up north cutting for a quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and he sold out and went up there.
Just double his wages very quickly.
That's the way he died.
Okay, and Jacksboro did have their own post office at one time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They had their own post office.
Down there right where that tree is.
Okay.
Right of that well.
I understand also that Jacksboro was blessed with a doctor or two.
Yeah.
Now, where was they located at?
Right across old Dr. McAfee, he built that house that fell down over in front of the old store
We know as the old driver place.
on the old driver place.
Okay.
A fellow named McAfee.
And was he a general practitioner?
Yeah.
Just a family
Family doctor.
Okay. And was there another one?
Yeah. Old Dr. McGuire. right over here where Richard's living.
Okay. Same house?
Same house.
Same house.
Same house that Richard's living.
Did he have his office there in the house?
There's office in their room in the front.
And I guess, of course, back then they made office calls, didn't they? House calls.
Oh, yeah.
Probably 50% of the time or better, didn't they? Okay, what about the funeral home?
Well, Grandpa Espy had that up there where Walter's living. He had one in Collar Springs, and he moved down here.
Now, the funeral home set where the frame house is now, right?
Back this side of the main house, that's right in there where them grain bins was.
Okay.
And he put him up a store, too. Oh, he had a store and a funeral home at Hollar Springs. Come down here and built that store. The funeral home.
Okay, so we had 3 stores in. We had Fowler's Daddy's store,
Yeah.
the Brewer store, and then one up there.
One time, but Grandpa didn't stay in the store business too long, some way or another. Well, didn't have no help. Trying to farm and do this and that. And Grandma got sick, and he just quit the store business.
Okay.
Kept his funeral home.
At what point did he go out of the funeral business? Do you remember roughly when?
No.
Okay, do you remember anything about the old Trousdale College we hear so much about?
No, nothing on what people tells me now. That is all gone. I come to this country.
Okay, but now it was located somewhere over there about where the blacksmith was somewhere in that.
Located right in there to right of the church house. They tore down the old college, an old big log college, they said, when they went out of business. They tore it down, built this, started a school there for 4 teachers. Some way or another, they never did finish up but 3 rooms, but they had 3 teachers when I moved here. Right in to the right of the church house now.
Okay, what I'm thinking of then is a boarding house, I guess.
Yep,
A boarding house with a cross.
That's old man Bob Downing. This Bob Downing used to live at Woodbury. Did you ever see him?
I've heard the name.
Well, his daddy and mother, they had a big house there, a big hotel. Up them borders and all that big school is there, you see.
Uh-huh.
But it's set off way back down off where Walter's old house is now. See, the road used to come right out across the church house yard. Come out down there, you know where that little oak tree was?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Grandpa built that store and his blacksmith shop. And he also had a grist mill in there, he ground corn for meal.
Mm-hmm.
Why, he wanted the road changed. He wanted to come around by his buildings, close to the buildings, you know. So he tore down his yard fence. And I never will forget John Best. You ever remember John Best?
No, but I've heard Dad speak of some of the Besses.
Well, when they had the graded road back then, they had to pull the grader with a steam engine. And John was driving the steam engine. Pulled down there and made that road around right where the road is now.
Where's that now?
And then graded it plumb on down to the river. They didn't have no road, just an old gully road. And Grandpa gave them the land. They got up on in his field and graded that road.
Oh, okay.
Steam engine there, I remember seeing.
Now, did the school or did the school serve as a church too, or was that 2 separate things?
Well, they had a church house.
They had a church separate.
Well, we first come to this country, Gene. The first time I ever remember coming to this country, we come down here, me and my dad and mother and all of us, Grandpa is, come in a wagon down here. Stayed all day with old man Bob Downing. And the church house, they just had got it done. That's the old church they moved off, you know.
Okay, the one that moved. Okay.
Yeah. They had one nearly done there. Some storm blowed it down. They gave it to old man Jim Gilly if he cleaned it up. Jim Gilly built him a house over there right where.
So they rebuilt it.
Yeah.
I believe
They
that
just
old
had
one.
that church done. It just was.
I believe that old one had a slab of concrete out in front. It had 1903, I think.
Well, that was built there. Yeah, I helped them build that. That's a great big boy.
Okay.
But
Now,
I
Dad.
think that's about when the church house was built.
Yeah.
That slab of concrete.
May have been put in later.
Oh, Lord, yeah, I was about grown when they covered the house up there. Poured that slab of
Now,
concrete.
Dad said he went to school quite a bit down at Crossroads School.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Did you ever go to school there?
No.
You never did go to school there. Do you remember when it went out of use or was tore down or so forth?
Yeah, back then they had a school about every 3 miles apart. You know, right down here, just out of that old log house, that barn and little old house there where, see, that's a Red Hill School there.
Uh-huh.
See, that was once the schoolhouse, that whole little old house sitting there now. Weren't no school buses. And way later on in the wintertime, they finally got a little enough money to put up when the weather got bad, they had enough money they hired a wagon to haul the kids. Us, if one got the job, $30 a month, hauling the school kids.
Yeah.
That's the school bus thing.
That was the first school bus.
There weren't no roads. You couldn't drive them in a truck or nothing. There weren't no gravels on the road back then. No blacktops.
So just 2 horses and a wagon.
2 horses and a wagon.
And then make the school run and take the kids back up to school.
Back, $30 a month.
Come a long way since then, hasn't it?
Everybody walked. That's
Thought
they had
nothing of it.
school here. They had one right down here, and over there, the other side of where them Northcutt boys lived, that was what they call Green Hill. Had a school there.
Uh-huh.
Schoolhouses about every 3 miles apart, all around here. Oak Grove, Crossroads, Caney Branch. That's all down there.
Each community had its own school then.
Yeah. Everybody walked to school, carried their dinner.
What'd you have for dinner?
Mhm.
What'd you have? What was a typical dinner for you?
What we have for dinner?
Yeah.
Well, we was always lived so close. We'd come home for dinner.
Ah, okay.
But they'd have a little of everything in their dinner boxes, them kids would. Dried beans, green beans.
Egg sandwiches?
Yeah. And,
Peanut butter?
no, there weren't no peanut butter back then. I didn't know what peanut butter was.
Oh,
That big old splash of molasses, big chunk of butter dropped down in that. Worked that all up needed.
Sounds pretty good. Now, one thing that's peculiar about the Jacksboro area is this right here in this little area called Jacksboro. You get right up the hill going west towards Pocahontas is called Trousdale.
Well, that's always been Trousdale.
You know how they got their name?
Well,
Either one?
I know what the old people told me, Blanche Mitchell and all of them.
On Trousdale or Jacksboro?
It's always been Trousdale Church, they said. And when they built this little store down here, old man Tony Jakes and his brother-in-law built it. They didn't keep it long. They sold it to an old fellow by the name of Jackson Brewer.
Jackson Brewer.
Yeah, Jackson Brewer. That's Miss Cora Elam's granddaddy. And he run a blacksmith shop right over here where I was talking about. And when he bought that store, there's all big crowd down there one night. Blanche Mitchell and Land was telling me about it, and Ben Moore told me. He says, well, what are we going to name it? Says, can't call it Trousdale. Says, what are we going to name the little store? Says, it needs a name. Somebody said, well, Mr. Brewer's named Jackson. We'll just name it Jacksboro. And they said that's where it got its name started.
Jackson Brewer.
Jackson Brewer. That's Jess Brewer's daddy.
Okay.
That's what I've been told, I don't know.
Was Trousdale always just called Trousdale ever since you can remember?
That's what it was when we come to this country, but a lot of people called it Jacksboro till yet, you know. Jacksboro Cemetery and Jacksboro Church, but it had wrote up on the old building there, Trousdale.
Okay. Now I know for years that you took care of the cemetery up there.
Yeah, the cemetery, and we come here with just a little bitty cemetery. Just a very few graves right up next to the old church.
Of course, then it grew in time and got larger
Oh, yeah.
as
Oh,
the
man.
country became settled.
Raymond Williams, his daddy, Cal Williams, owned the farm then, and he gave a strip of ground off of it before he ever sold it. And Daddy gave a time or two. They never did want but just a little at a time. It all come off of that place there.
Now, was that the SB farm, or
Mm-hmm.
was that the SB farm at that
No,
time?
that was the Cal Williams farm.
Cal
Where
Williams.
Jesse owned here, you see. My daddy owned that farm.
Mm-hmm.
When we left here, he bought that place up there where the graveyard is.
Okay.
You know, and Grandpa never did own that side.
But I know you've been active in the cemetery up there. Now, you say your mother and daddy is buried there.
Yeah, Grandpa, well, all of them
And-
folks nearly.
And your grandmother, grandfather,
Yeah. Uncles and aunts.
they're all there. Now, speaking of the cemeteries, do you remember the old Fountain Grove Cemetery across from Miss Ruby?
Well, yeah, I just,
Now, we've got some folks there, which I didn't even know was there. I'd lived here 10 years before I even knew that there was a cemetery there.
yeah, I've noticed it's been there a long time.
And at one time, there was a little community up there, they tell me, across from Miss Ruby, you know,
Yeah.
that had a few things, but it seemed like it's kind of thrived for a little while, then just kind of died out, you know, and then it never did materialize. Also, in that same vicinity where the Fountain Grove Cemetery is across Miss Ruby, across the creek and up the hill, there's an old cemetery called the Hewlett
Yeah,
Cemetery.
used to be a schoolhouse there, they said, but now I never did. It was gone from
Yeah.
first time I ever saw it.
Well, there again, we've got some kin folks in it. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. And in fact, we just put a rock up there about a month ago. One of the ranges there was in the Civil War, William Presley. In fact, you may have heard of him. I don't
Yeah.
know. He lived in that community and raised a family. Also, one of the older cemeteries, I guess, in Warren County is right behind us, back up the road here across the community center, the old French Cemetery.
Yeah, they say that's the oldest.
Do you have any people in there or
No.
know of any?
No.
Was it
All of
used
my
quite
folks.
extensively back when you was a boy?
Huh?
Was it used quite a bit when you was a boy?
Not too much. I know a few funerals over there. Not many.
Okay. They tell me it was black and white both.
Yeah.
Black and white
The
both.
blacks is on the north. Just about as many blacks as was whites.
Okay. Now there again, we've got folks in that graveyard up there too. Also, we've got one of our folks down where Alvin Gann used to live. You know, at the little rent house there
Yeah,
by Elam's in a garden.
yeah.
Just a little pin around him. He was an Isaac range. So, how long did you know my dad now?
Well, ever since we come to this country.
A long time. Now, he was just a little bit younger than you. He would have been, in fact, he would have been 80 today.
Yeah, he's a little bit younger than me.
He'd have been 80 today.
Old man Bob Byford raised him.
Yeah? Yeah, now his mother died when he was 6 months old.
Yeah, I know it.
And,
Yeah, I've known Sterling ever since. When we first come to this country, we moved up there where Nellies were living.
Yeah.
First time we
well,
moved
now,
here.
back west of there, was you living there when it was called Rangetown?
Oh, yeah. Living there.
In other words, that was strung out with a lot of ranges, you know, from one end to the other, they tell me.
Yeah. When we'd come to this country, my daddy'd always say, well, we're in Rangetown now, we're nearly there. Well, the first range we come to was Oss.
Us.
Lived there, his house is this side of John Crisp. Come on down there then, and Joe and Deanie hadn't been married long, this side of Oss's. They'd
Okay.
built them a little new house, just 2 rooms.
Okay.
where Joe and Deanie lived. Well, on the left down there is where Crit lives.
Okay.
Well, come on over there where Marsh Driver's living. Roof lived there. And the next range was Uncle Newt.
Newt.
And gonna cross the river there, and there's your dad,
Okay. Ike.
where he lived. And then right up, just side of the Vaders, you know, on that little rise up there, that's where E.J. and Grandma Rain was living there.
Okay. Now that E.J. is quite a colorful character. You knew E.J., didn't you?
Yes, I know
Personally,
him.
you knew him. All I've seen is pictures of him. I've never seen or met him. Now he was an old bachelor.
Yeah, he's an old bachelor.
And he lived, they tell me, with his mammy until she died, and then he just stayed with first one and another.
Yeah. What he done? He took care of her as long as she lived and done a good job of it. And then Fowler went to her funeral. Yeah, E.J. knew was married.
Did he ever come close, or
Huh?
did he ever come close that you know of?
To the store or anything?
No, come close to getting married.
My life, yeah, well, look at a woman I didn't know it. No, nobody never did know it, they did.
Okay.
No, he never was married. Everybody liked E.J. though. He was a likable boy.
Yeah, they tell me he was smart.
And he was a ball player that wouldn't quit. Lord have mercy.
What can you tell me about Ain't Bird Swoape?
Well, I never knowed a lot about Ain't Bird. She's lived up there with, of course, her husband was dead. He come to this country and lived up there right where Elle, you know, sold out.
Yeah.
She lived there as long as she lived.
She was kind of a biggish, stout woman, wasn't she?
Oh, Lord, yeah. She is stout, smart as a tack. They all stepped around when Ain't Bird spoke up there. That's all there was to it.
Now, Ain't Bird took care of Isaac Range. That's the one that was in the pen, on the garden, in the edge of the pen. I guess until he died, and then probably that was part of her inheritance or for staying, you know, with him.
Well, he owned a lot of land, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
That's where
He
Ain't
owned a
Bird
lot
got
of
her.
land.
Huh, they said. Boy,
Was the where R.K. and Susan Akers? Yeah, Susan Akers, because R.K. died fairly young, and of course E.J. stayed with his mother. But how long did that house stay there? Was it still standing, of course, when you was here?
yeah, I mean, yeah, she was standing there and me and fella married. We married in 29.
No trace of it now. In other words, there's
Oh, no.
nothing there to even show you that.
Uncle Ike tore it down shortly after she passed away. Yes, it's still there. The old house still there. E.J. stayed right with her. Still there when she passed away. When
Okay.
she passed away, me and fella was living down on the river. We went up there. Of course, and then we went back and went to the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So E.J. got out. Ike had done bought the land, you know. Yeah. He tore the old house down. Boy, it was old.
Been there a
farm.
long time.
Yeah, Lord, yeah. You don't tell me how old that old house was.
Okay, now let's get back to the Depression area. You was a fairly young man during the Depression, wasn't he?
Yeah,
And times was tough. But what can
30-year-old.
you tell us about it, about that area?
Well, there weren't no money and didn't have to have no money. Everybody raised all to eat. Wasn't nowhere to go. Come down here at the store. Eggs is a nickel a dozen.
A nickel a dozen.
The old men fellow lived.
If you had the nickel.
Well, the people didn't go to the store and buy there. Everybody had their own eggs to eat.
Yeah.
They had eggs to sell.
Yeah.
And you could get a good shoe then for $1. But these 75-cent shoes was what most of the people bought. They'd wear 2 pair now.
Uh-huh.
2 pair overalls for 40, 45, 50 cents. Shirt for a quarter.
Okay.
Nigger toed candy, you saw that.
Uh-oh, now what? What does that mean?
Nigger toed, they called it, you know.
Oh, Lord.
Chocolate.
Notice that you don't have a car. Have you ever had a car?
No. Sure ain't.
Have you ever driven? I mean, besides a tractor and so forth?
No tractor.
Just had no desire to?
Mm-hmm.
You just had no desire to?
No. Right.
Well, you know, my dad couldn't ride, he couldn't ride a bicycle.
Well, I used to could ride a bicycle.
He could not ride a bicycle. He didn't have a sense of balance. When he'd get up on it, he could go a few feet and he'd just fall over. He couldn't balance himself. Whenever you was a boy, was the water still, as far as running water, was it still pretty good? Could you drink out of streams and things like that?
There was more springs back when I was a boy. Well, there's springs everywhere there. I don't know what's happened. They're beautiful too.
Yeah.
Ain't many springs no more.
No, there is.
I'd be afraid to use them if I had one.
Yeah, that's one thing that
Of course.
happened to the environment, you know, that some of the water is, unless it's filtered and so forth, it could be undrinkable. Did you build this house or was it here?
Oh, it's out here and I come to this country.
How old is the house then?
Well, I don't know. They tell me it's over 100-year-old. No fellow by the name of Spurlock built the house.
Spurlock. Well, how long have you lived in it now personally?
Like 44 years.
40 some odd years, nearly 50 years. And the house still looks to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Pretty good shape. But you have a terrible big yard.
Yeah.
A lot of walking, man.
I'm used to it, though.
Is your health still in pretty decent shape, or
Well,
do you have a lot of ailments now?
I've been having a little trouble along. Guess it's pretty good shape for my age.
Okay.
Still up and going. A lot of people my age ain't going.
Yeah. Now I can remember when I first moved back here, there's a little building that sits across the road from Kathy's now. We voted in there.
Yeah.
What was in there? A store or something
Store.
at one time?
Sermon Young built that. He had a little store there. In 2 or 3 years. Sold out and went back towards daylight. Yeah, that's where we voted. We used to vote up there in the schoolhouse. You have to vote down there in that little store until they moved the vote out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I can remember voting there whenever we first moved back here. Now, and also, was there a blacksmith shop now over?
Right in the bottom.
Okay, right.
This side of Bill Grimm's house.
Okay.
They had a big shop there, a big building.
Now, who run that?
Well, just different ones. Old man Jackson Brewer run it for years. Miss Brewer's daddy. He's the one they named the store after. The last man ever run it was Claude Smoot.
Claude
Tommy
Smoot.
Smoot's daddy. And right across the front of the shop, there's 2 houses there. See, the road didn't go through here.
Mm-hmm.
You turned up here at Richards, go down there. If you want to go to McMillan, right in front of that shop, turn left, cross the French down there, and come back out over Richard Billy Cappy.
Okay, now, years ago, we got a big fine bridge down here going towards Centertown, but years ago, there wasn't a bridge there, was it?
Well, I saw the time in 3 days at a time here. The mailman couldn't get no further than up at the church house. Go up at the church house and turn right and go down there to that house. He had to go. There no need him going, but he had to go. I saw it 3 times. There wasn't a bridge across Caney Branch or neither one of these rivers. It'd be 3 days at a time. You couldn't get out of here.
Mm. I guess this little bridge down here would get up.
Yeah, she'd get up.
This one
There
down
weren't no
here.
bridges over there. Gets up just like it gets up now. A while back when it's up, me and Norman went out through there. Of course, that field there, water is on the right, that 10 acres, I guess it's deep as my head all over it. Weren't no bridges.
Have you ever swam mules in this river?
Yeah, and this old lake up yonder behind your daddy's.
Now, I've heard back up that. That's called the Curtis Hole, I think.
Yeah.
Curtis Hole.
Old man Curtis got drowned.
Yeah. I wonder how he got drowned. He just have
Cramp, they said.
cramps or something, and he drowned. And then so it buried his name. And then in later years, boys used to go up there and take their horses or mules or what have you, and it was deep enough they would swim.
Yeah,
Swim the
now they
horses
tell
and
me that ain't deep at all. It
No, it ain't.
used to be 18 foot deep, they said, at one place. So
Yeah, you can really walk across it now.
I ain't been down there in years and years.
Is there anything you'd like to any advice you'd like to give young people today starting down the same road that you started
Well,
80 years ago?
I just advise them all to be honest and treat everybody like they like to be treated.
Good advice.
Do what you say you're going to do.